Oftentimes we live a life and we say, man, if I could go back, I would do it all over again. And I know what we mean when we say that, because we want to avoid all the pain, we want to avoid all the heartbreak and all the heartache. But if I could go back and do it all over again, I'll probably do the same stuff I did, to be honest with you. Because it's a part of who I am now, right? It's a part of the ingredient. Of course, I would try to do some things differently. But despite the past, God is using it. He's created something new, and He's using it for His glory. He wants to do that for all of us. So Jephthah had a flaw, and he couldn't do anything about it. But as we pick up in verse 29 and go forward, we see that Jephthah also had a failure. Because in verse 29 it says, then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh and through Mizpah of Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead he advanced towards the people of Ammon. But I want to stop right there before we get into his vow, because it says the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. Are you aware that the Spirit of the Lord is all you need for victory in your life? The Spirit of the Lord is all you need if you want to have a victorious life. It says the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he passed through all these regions. But then we get to verse 30, and it says he made a vow to the Lord. Oftentimes, God has given us everything we need, but we don't trust Him. So we have to add our little 2 cents in there and make these unnecessary promises to God. How many times have we said, God, if you get me out of this situation, I'm going to go to Africa with Pastor Donaldson, and I'm going to minister to all the kids in the village. And God gets you out. Pastor Donaldson got his ticket, and I'm still here. How many times you say, God, if you heal my marriage, I'll do this. If you raise up my sick loved one, I'll do that. If you get me out of this predicament, God, I'm going to serve you. We even do it in our prayers, and I don't even know if we realize it. We'll say all these prayers, we'll make all these requests, and say, and if you do this, we'll be careful to give you all the glory, honor, and praise. How many times does our life give Him glory, honor, and praise after we've prayed that prayer? Just something to consider. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah. God had given him the green light. God had given him the blessing. It was already God's will to deliver the Ammonites into the hands of Jephthah. But in verse 30 we see he made a foolish vow. It says, and Jephthah made a vow to the Lord and said, if you will indeed deliver the people of Ammon into my hands, then it will be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the people of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering. Now when he made this vow, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know if he thought a goat was going to run out the house, a dove was going to fly out the window, maybe his mother-in-law, somebody, I don't know. Maybe, I said his mother-in-law, not mine. I wouldn't sacrifice my mother-in-law. I don't know. In his mind, maybe he wasn't even thinking about his daughter or his wife or a loved one. Maybe he's thinking some animal's going to run out the house. So he makes this vow to God who had already given him everything he needed. The vow was completely unnecessary, but there was a consequence. Because we see that later on when he got home, God had delivered him and said 20 cities. I mean, he went around beating down everybody. 20 cities. It says in verse 33, he defeated them from Aroer as far as Minnith, 20 cities, and to Abel Keramim, says with a very great slaughter. It wasn't even close. It wasn't a close call at all. It was an overwhelming victory. But then he gets home. In verse 34 it says he came to his house at Mizpah, and there was his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and dancing. She was his only child. Can you imagine the emotional roller coaster from coming back from defeating 20 cities. And you're on this emotional high. God has delivered you victory. And you're coming home, ready to rest, relax, kick with your heels. You remember the vow when you see your daughter. Now I have 3 daughters. And it would be pretty difficult to sacrifice eeny, meeny, miny. It'd be pretty difficult to sacrifice any of them. But at least if I had to, I got 2 left. I'm just saying, as the father who loves his children, I couldn't imagine how painful that decision would have been to have to sacrifice it, man. And honor this vow I made to God, but I would say, maybe I'd have had him pick straws or, rock, paper, scissors or something. But I'd have had 2 left. The Bible says that she was his only child. Only child. How many people here only have 1 child? Yeah, that'd be extremely difficult. But imagine how difficult it was for God to give up his only child, who was in heaven, seated at the right hand, full of glory, full of majesty, full of splendor. And the Bible says that he emptied himself, right? He left all of that. God gave him, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The pain, the anguish, right? The sacrifice. Because God is a covenant keeper. So he had to honor that sacrifice by giving his son. It says she was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. He wanted victory so bad, and I would imagine after being born of a prostitute, kicked out, despised by your family, not even owned by your brothers, not having any inheritance, completely excommunicated from his family, and here's an opportunity to kind of stick it to him a little bit. I would imagine he wanted victory so bad to prove that y'all didn't want me, but now you need me, right? Look at me now. That he made this foolish vow, just God, you gotta do this. And I don't know his heart, but I would imagine that a little bit of that was going on in his mind, that these same folk that rejected me, here they are asking for my help. God, if you do this for me, woo, man. But not knowing that his daughter was going to be the one that ran out the house. Now there's a lot of people, there's 2 schools of thought on, did he offer his daughter as a sacrifice and kill her? Or did he offer her up to service for the rest of her life? You study it for yourself. I have an opinion on it, and I believe that you have to study it for yourself. I'll leave it there. Ask me after church and I'll tell you my opinion. But whether you believe he killed her or whether you believe he offered her up, the consequence was severe for the foolish vow that he made. His one and only child, it says, it came to pass when he saw her that he tore his clothes and said, alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You are among those who trouble me, for I have given my word to the Lord, and I cannot go back on it. This foolish vow cost him his whole family line. There was no more little Jephthites, or whatever they would have been called. He had one daughter who was a virgin, it says, never knew a man. And whether he offered her up to service to the Lord or whether he actually slaughtered her in sacrifice, that vow ended his family line. I thought when I had 3 daughters, there would be no more kitchens. One day they'd all be married off and, whatever their last names would be. And then CJ came. The kitchen line continues. Maybe. No time soon, right? I don't know about that little dude. But there's something about that family line. Like it was actually, what's the word I'm looking for? To be a woman during that time and barren with no children was actually humiliating almost. Right? Remember Sarah and Abram? Old, barren, God said you have a kid. She laughed at him because it was kind of like, yeah, okay, I waited this long. It's kind of like you didn't really feel like a woman if you didn't bear children during that time. And so again, whether you fall on the side that it was a lifelong commitment to the temple, or whether you fall on the side where he actually took her life, the bottom line is says, I have given my word to the Lord, and I cannot go back on what I said. So this leads me to the third point, his faith. He was a flawed individual, had a jacked up childhood, had a messed up background. He made a foolish vow, cost him his whole family, his future family. But I believe that the reason why we see him in the Hebrew Faith Hall of Fame, obviously, is because of his faith. We see in the latter part in verses 36 through 40, his faith must have been strong, and he must have been an example in his own house. Because listen to the response of his daughter, who was the one being affected by this foolish vow. Verse 36 says, so she said to him, my father, if you have given your word to the Lord, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, because the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the people of Ammon. Then she said to her father, let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may go and wander on the mountains and bewail my virginity to my friends and I. So she had nothing to do with this vow at all. But she was affected by it. How many of our kids are affected by the foolishness of their parents? Right? How many of us were affected by the foolishness of our parents? I got family members that I don't know because of the foolishness of my parents. I know my Uncle Lou is back here. But I got cousins, I got, relatives that I don't even know, and haven't even met because of some foolishness that took place that I wasn't even aware of. My kids have been affected by some of my foolishness. Their kids have been affected by some of their foolishness. But I look at this and I say, wow, what faith does she have to say, do to me according to what you told God you were going to do? So she went for 2 months and grieved the fact that she would never bear children. She would never know a man. She would never marry. But she was at peace because she believed in the sovereign God. When things seem completely impossible, when things seem extremely difficult, we can be at peace when we know we're doing God's will. And doing God's will is not easy. It's not fun. Sometimes it could cost you to be in the middle of God's will. It could cost you your life. It could cost you your future, your family, your finances. But it costs. There's a cost to following Christ. Are you aware of that? That's why you see a lot of people walked away sad when they say, well, what do I have to do to follow you, Jesus? He says, sell all that you have. Let the dead bury the dead. Right? Love me more than you love your mother and father. Those are difficult, hard sayings. The thing about this book of Judges is that you have to understand is this is not a book of theology, it's a book of history. And it clearly just outlines how God operated in the life of Israel. From chapter 1 through the end, you see Israel, it starts out by saying everybody did what was right in their own eyes, right? They were following God, they disobeyed God, He would send them a deliverer, they would repent, then they would disobey God, and then they would cry out to God, He would send another deliverer, they would repent, and then they would do it again, over and over and over again. And you say, man, that's a shame. They should have known better. But when I look back at my own life and I see how God sent a deliverer and I repented and I worshiped and then I did it over again. And then He sent a deliverer and I worshiped and then I repented and I did it over